presuming that anything important got read. But it doesn't take long to add up to a lot.
No. All right, 6:30. We'll get started. Welcome in for another Friday Safety Focus of the Week, July 7th. This week's code of conduct is to work in an environmental conscientious manner. Mr. Dowdy, anything to add on this code item this week for us?
Just take care of the environment so that it can keep us, we can keep it in a state where we can remain healthy.
Yeah. Well said. Austin, you want to move to the next slide?
Yep.
So 65s from our last recordable 21. So, short week with a holiday and kind of skeleton crew on Monday. So let's start this today off with a good JHA after the safety focus. Let's work safe today. Good job yesterday beating the heat. We didn't have any heat stress related situations, and also good job keeping our site secure as we didn't have any vandalism or break-ins over the long weekend. So kudos to everybody. We did a couple spot checks on trailers this week. So far, so good. So remember, let's just emphasize housekeeping throughout the construction season, keeping our sites clean and organized. Austin, take it away for the topic of this week, please.
All right. This week I'm going to talk about overhead clearance. So mainly, power lines, things like that, overhead utilities. We do run into a few other things like bridges, things like that are overhead, but mainly it's we go into these power poles and overhead lines. So 1 in every 10 deaths on a construction site are from electrocution, and the majority of these deaths are from contacting overhead power lines. Overhead power lines typically are insulated, and any coverings that are on them are usually just for to keep the weather away, things like that. They're not made to insulate them. So if you do hit a power line with equipment or vehicle, the best method of actioning is to just stay in your vehicle. It's gonna act as a conductor and just put the electricity down into the ground, and if you get out of that, you're gonna ground yourself. So it's safe. The safest practice is to stay in your vehicle if you ever come in contact with a line.
I think that's a decision you got to make in the moment. I know that there are times when the vehicle will catch on fire, especially
Yes.
I think rubber tired vehicles. I think Barrett Trucking had an incident about 2 summers ago in New Haven. I think it might have been at Pike's plant, right? And that the body was up, it struck the lines, a high voltage line, and caused a fire, and the truck was destroyed, I believe.
Yep. So yeah, wow. And then workers on the ground are more likely to be injured because all of that power is going around the vehicle and just into the ground. So anyone around there can be injured. So clearance from overhead power lines. So this is what OSHA requires. So up to 50 kilovolts, it's 10 feet. Then 50 to 150, 200 to 350, 220, and so on down the list. But anything over 1,000 kilovolts, you contact the utility owner or operator and let them decide what they're gonna do. What they want done.
We have very little, probably. Well, the normal high voltage is 115,000 on the high voltage transmission lines. I think. Ben, what is it up from New Haven? I think maybe Rutland to New Haven.
345.
345, right?
Yeah.
And I think. Yep. And then I don't know, like on the other side of the state, we had the high voltage DC lines. I don't know what those direct current voltages are.
Yeah, I'm not sure what those are, but the big, huge ones that I remember over there are 345 kV. They're
Right.
big.
Yep.
High voltage, yeah.
Yeah, it's good to know what the voltage is you're working around, but if you don't know, then just give it a wide berth or contact someone who does. So contacting overhead lines can occur when you're just moving a ladder or scaffold around the site. Using forklift, bucket lift, boom truck, scissor lift, excavator, etc. Obviously, while operating a crane, that's a big one. Sometimes we have to get close to the lines when using the crane, and it's good to best practice to contact the power company, have them come out and try to protect the line. Also, another big one is raising a dump head. We do lots of this, and it's always best practice to get out of the truck before you go on the site. Look around, know the layout of the site. We should install warning flags or signs that people can see, because you're not always looking up. So it's good to have something right out there in front of you in your field of vision. It's hard to see the overhead lines or those signs, make sure you have a spotter, someone to warn you when you're getting close. Just the second set of eyes to look out for you. Like I said, if you can't maintain adequate clearance, you must have the power call the power company, have them come protect the lines. Those aren't necessarily insulating the lines. They will protect it and allow you to briefly contact the lines and not damage them. So it's good to just always look up. Know the layout of the site. So everyone be safe out there today. That's what I have.
So I had a couple of things to add. So the other thing that we have that our guys have a lot is we have aluminum grade rods, and a lot of when you extend them, they're 16 feet high, and the aluminum ones can conduct. And if you have low hanging lines, those can really I've seen it happen. They can really give you a zap. The other thing is, when we're in substations, they don't allow us usually to use those grade rods, and we have fiberglass ones that we use in substations, right? And the other thing to note is, if a power line falls on the ground and you got to move away from it, shuffle your feet, because if a power line, especially high voltage, gets into the ground, it'll create a potential that changes with distance. So if you step your feet far apart, you can create a potential between your legs, and that would not be good. So they train us in the substations that if you have to move, you can shuffle your feet, keep them really close together. I guess one guy told us when we were at IBM one time, you could hop like an Easter bunny, but either way, don't create a potential between your legs if you've got a big power line on the ground and you have to get away. Like Ken said, sometimes you have to get away.
Yep.
So those are the only things I can note that I could add.
That could apply with an equipment strike too.
Yes. Yeah.
Because you are effectively grounding the wire with the equipment. So
that's right.
There's that step potential away from the equipment where it's grounded directly. So you got to make sure you're minimizing the voltage between your legs, the voltage difference, I should say.
Yep.
Right. It's dissipating, the voltage is dissipating away from the contact area, and it's not an immediate dissipation. It's a gradual one, and you don't want to get caught in that change.
Yeah. And that's why Austin was saying that sometimes it's often more dangerous, and the people on the ground are the ones that get hurt. The person that's sitting in the equipment is kind of
usually quite often
sitting in the seat, they're okay, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Unless a fire happens, that's the only time you need to exit.
Yep. Okay. Okay, thanks, Austin. I'll
Thank
take over
you.
the screen. Okay. Can you see my screen?
We got
Yep.
it, Ken.
All right. So did we set up? I put in here watch in person at the ECI safety room. Is that an option now that we've deployed?
Yeah, we have it, and as soon as we see somebody, we'll fire it up. No one was up
Okay,
here today,
all
so
right.
we didn't fire it up.
And you have air conditioning up there too, right?
We do, and coffee and water. It's actually a nice
Oh
place to
my,
watch the
yeah,
meeting.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, so you'll probably have to start kicking people out. All right, safety focus, overhead, utility clearances, and the announcements. And before I start the announcements, because I'm likely to forget because it's not listed here about that, there is a weather potential for today with heavy rain and thunderstorms around 2 o'clock and later, right? I saw on the news, it sounds fairly severe, possible hail and very heavy rain, and they're indicating that the storms are going to be slow moving, so there'll be a lot of rain concentrated in certain areas. So be aware of that.
Yeah, I'm seeing 2 o'clock, Ken.
Yeah. So just following up on last week's announcements, nothing new here, just to be the retirement plan from Newport to Ascensus. Check with accounting if you can't get on. And today there's a Morgan Stanley financial advisor representative at ECI. So if you signed up, keep it in mind to be available at your appointment time. And if you didn't get an appointment, you want one, just call the office. I don't know if there's anything open, but usually if there's not, they can help you get set up to have some other way of consulting with they call them educator more than advisors. They don't like to think of themselves advising you because that means that they have some duty of responsibility to the outcome. So it's more of an education thing. Let's see, the healthcare premium continues, which is very cool. Starting on June 2nd, it started, 14 weeks. And the Champlain Valley Fair tickets, this notice here expires on July 14th at 3 p.m. You need to let Melanie in the accounting administrative office know if you're interested in tickets. We have, for each employee, you can have 2 adults and 2 child tickets to the fair. That's going to be when is it here? Does it say when it is? It's usually the last week in August and into the first week of September, if you're not familiar with the fair. And free tickets, but make sure you sign up soon, like before the 14th, because we're on a deadline. We've got to make those requests, and they're pre-purchased tickets, so there's a lead time for that. And new employees here, we have Josh Larson. He's going to be with the Civil Group. Welcome, Josh. And then I again put the posting of the Lamoille Valley Rail Trail bike ride, which comes up on the 5th or the 13th, sorry, of July. Like I said, it runs in segments. It's a celebratory ride with the governor and other people, and it's something that we, as a company, have participated in different facets, mostly in the original take-up way back quite a while ago. And there's supposed to be support along the way and transportation back to Swanton. It'll start in Swanton, go to St. Jay. And the primary ECI primary wellness program link here. So check that out if you need it. And I got an update here for projects on the VTrans Williston Road Industrial Avenue project here. And I don't know, Mark Peliquin, did you want to present here, or you want me to follow through if you're out there?
Sure, I'll present it.
Okay,
Either
sounds
or.
good. You want me to drive and you just
Sure, you might as well drive, Ken.
you
You're
narrate?
already there.
Okay. All right.
So the job out in front in the shop is ECI's Williston Industrial Avenue intersection improvement project, which included an underground stormwater structure using sand filter technology. The stormwater underdrain discharge treatment occurs at normal flow periods. Storm events bypass the filter and discharge over land into the Muddy Brook. Some of you probably know, some of you don't. This actually was originally going to be a precast unit, and we proposed to the state actually before I came on board to cast it in place. And that's obviously the direction we ended up going. We designed it. Well,
It's hard to
We had,
imagine it. It's so large, it's hard to imagine it as a precast.
yeah, I mean, I don't know what those sections would have weighed. Just, we looked at precast and just the top pieces, and we were going to struggle to set them. Say
Yeah.
nothing about, and those were like 6-foot pieces. We were going to struggle to set them with an excavator. So anyways, the 3-chamber structure has dimensions of 55 feet long, 14 feet wide, 9 feet high. The walls, base slab, and roof slab are all 12 inches thick, with the roof rated for highway traffic, even though it's over a steep embankment and behind guardrail, actually. The water enters into a sediment chamber where it is baffled to the filter chamber. The sand filter media, which is concrete sand, is underlain by several underdrain pipes that just discharge into the outlet chamber. Each chamber contains an access hatch. The roof was cast on a shorting system consisting of brackets Hilti bolted to the walls. You'll see a photo of that later down below. The supportive excavation for the structure involved 4 levels of shotcrete and soil nail wall. The excavation into Williston Road embankment extended to a deep depth of about 16 feet below. Subsurface conditions consisted of fine sand. Initially, we were concerned for running sand, which was a major challenge during the 2021 installation of stormwater collection piping and manholes. We performed test borings during this past winter, and the results indicated a lower groundwater at the structure. We encountered some running sand conditions during the shotcreting, but the conditions quickly dissipated on each lift, which indicated the groundwater was simply perched on the less pervious soils. I think as part of the job, we installed a lot of underdrain, which did alleviate some of the
Yes.
water issues that we had out there. And you can see this is the layouts. If you aren't familiar with it, this is actually over by, it's on the same side of the road as Vermont Wholesale Lumber, and just beyond them, that big hole that you see, if you take a minute and walk over and take a peek over the slope, you'll see the sand filter there now. You better take a peek here because we're gonna backfill this thing for no one to see here, hopefully in the next couple weeks.
Everyone's been asking me about the culvert we've been doing on Williston Road. I'm like, culvert? Because they expect over the bank, it must be a culvert.
Yeah. Structural design was performed by artisan engineers out of Charlotte. John Higgins specifically designed it. This is a rendition that John did of the structure.
I think it's interesting, the baffle, and I didn't ask Ronnie and guys how they constructed it, but that hanging wall must have been an interesting build.
Yeah. Yeah.
We built a normal wall and just put a piece of shelf.
Yeah, we just, we set it like a normal wall, and then we just built a shelf on the bottom part and then stripped it out.
Yep.
Good, and hope that there wasn't any concrete that flowed in, right? There's another view. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Mark.
those are the details that were in the plans that we bid. As I said, originally, this item was a precast. The specs were set up for precast, but we altered it. And Ronnie and Marty and team Todd, they all did a great job banging this thing out for us. We rented the staging from, or the forming and brackets and stuff all came from Whitecap.
I guess I put 2022 here and 2021 on the top. I don't remember which year we actually had all this problem. It might have been 21, actually.
Yeah, it must have been 21 because I wasn't here, Ken.
Okay. So I'll just mention on this one, you can usually tell a challenging subsurface condition and entrenching when it looks like this. You got earth falling into the sides and you
Yep.
got crushed stone everywhere.
Yep,
Hint,
And a sump
there's a
pump.
problem here.
yep, yep, definitely.
That's what it was like. It was that bad. It just
Wow.
sloughed in. Okay, Mark.
Yes, so this one obviously was before I came along, but that was the pipe conditions. I heard about it from the guys. Very challenging out there. Shotcrete nail was designed in-house at ECI, specifically by Ken, and Nate Luigi did all the CAD work for Ken, and tremendous turnaround on that. We submitted it this spring, and I think we even had to make some adjustments on the first design, didn't we, Ken? They asked for some
Yeah.
stuff, the state.
Yeah, we had to address a
Um,
few things, and then we had to make some changes on the fly as we built it too.
Yes, yep. We did it in 4-foot lifts. Each lift was excavated, shotcreted, soil nailed, and cured prior to advancing to the next lift. Top lift worked around an existing Vermont gas line that was planned to be relocated but never happened. The actual the plan showed it on the opposite side of Route 2 actually. So we weren't even supposed to encounter this thing, which obviously you can see we had to kind of protect it with Ken's design there. We had to step in and step back out over it, and can't remember if we ended up putting that plate in or not, Ken, over it.
We decided
do
it
that?
wasn't that necessary.
Yeah.
We left it out. We just shotcreted over the top.
Yeah.
And it was partly about the depth we encountered. It was ideal for, eliminating that detail.
Brad Pasker came out and did all the shotcreting wall and soil nails for us. And I think Jacob was out there a little bit helping him as well. That's the typical design for the nails. I think we did 2 test nails as well. Ken,
That's right.
Was that
Yes, we did.
one in the first and the third lift? Was that what it was?
Yeah, I
Or
think that's
second?
right. Yeah. Yep.
Which a test nail, you just put in a nail just like you would normally, and then you just test it.
Right. Yeah, you don't have to test the other production nails that way.
Each shotcrete lift was reinforced with steel mesh and a pair of number 4 whaler bars running longitudinally across each soil nail location. Weep holes were added for drainage. As you can talk about it before, we had the flowing sands. We did see a little bit up top. It was okay, but as we get down lower, there was some issues with some of the groundwater, and actually that corner down by that utility pole, we had some surface water issues we had coming in there. We ended up shotcreting a little bit extra in that area just to protect it.
And that bench they're standing on is where the gas line is.
Yes. Yep. Shotcrete was placed in a 4.5 inch thick layer over the excavated slope. You can see them there. There's shotcreting after the nails are installed, and wire mesh is there. And there was the final product. You can see the 4 lifts as we talked about, and the return down in the corner. That's where we made some adjustments to fit the sand filter in there. The challenge we had was there was a 36-inch HDPE pipe. You can't see it in this photo, but it's running at an angle, and it came to a pinch point.
Like almost standing on it here in this picture.
Exactly. Yeah. As you got closer to where Ken's standing to take this photo, that because it was running at an angle, that HDPE kind of pinched our location for the sand filter, and we had to cockeye it a little bit to get it in there. ECI pump shotcrete with our Schwing. I don't know if that's correct pronunciation or not.
Schwing, yeah.
Ground pump with compressed air to make shotcrete. And there's Jim, who was key in getting us pumping the concrete for us.
I thought this was funny. We had to protect our slab. from frost.
Yeah, we had some cool temperatures. We'd welcome those back now, but we had some cool temperatures, and not only did we have to protect that, it was kind of funny. Marty called me when we poured the walls. There was some cool temperatures. I think it was getting into the low 40s, and the state wanted us to wrap the whole sand filter in blankets, and we informed them that there was no need for that. Yes, it was going to be chilly, but certainly wasn't going to be an issue with the concrete. And they did let us proceed without blanketing it, but they want us to wrap the whole thing.
Matt, maybe you want to comment on these stairs for nice access. It was great access down there considering the challenging slope.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. That was definitely a nice added benefit on that project. That was a rocky, steep slope.
Right. And then we
Eliminate a
had a
hazard
little,
by making stairs. Yep.
they had a little concrete pad as a landing at the bottom where that generator's sitting.
Yeah. And just point out too, back to that photo, Ken, if you would.
Yep.
You can see where in the foreground where their forms are set. So you can imagine this is a tough location. Those the concrete guys really busted hump to get those forms out to
Right.
the far end, and not a great location. Probably would have been a good one to precast, right? But the guys stepped up and banged it out. Hard work, definitely hard work in a challenging location.
And you can see that outfall pipe on the left there, just sticking out before the green. And you can
Yeah.
see it lines right back pretty much to where the photo was taken and pinches off the corner there of the sand filter.
This one's a partial backfilling. We had to backfill to get ourselves access. There, you can see Paul's running the excavator, and looks like Adam and Nate are discussing how to get the sand in there in that photo. But they had to put the sand and all that stuff in before the concrete guys could form the top, because obviously after there's no access. Again, OneCap did the shoring design, and all the brackets came from them. It was a rented system that actually I don't know if Todd finished. I know he was starting to strip inside there yesterday, and certainly stripped the outside. I think he got into the inside too.
Yeah, we're gonna do a confined space today.
Wow.
And there's the bracket system where it was hilted to the outside walls, and I think we ended up with plywood on the bottom.
Right.
And here's the guys pouring it. The shoring work, no failures. You could imagine if that shoring failed, what kind of mess you'd have to clean up. So we were thankful it worked.
Right. We questioned it at first, but looked at it carefully and said, I guess it's pretty good. It's pretty robust and well designed.
Yeah.
There have been failures that I've known of, with nothing we've had to deal with here, from form systems by third party form rental companies.
And there's the final product. You can see your burlap and your soaker hose. State of Vermont required 7-day cure on this. So Todd even had to come in on Monday and make sure that the hoses were still soaking everything. Of course, with all the rain, that's the one good thing about rain, I guess, is it helps out with the cure.
Yep. So I think that's it, right? Yep, that's it. And then for the photo archives, I had this picture. They're all actually a lot of air photos, historic air photos are available online on some state of Vermont website. But this shows in 1962 what that section from Muddy Brook to Williston Road or along Williston Road to Industrial Ave looked like. You can see that farmhouse kind of in the middle on the south side of Williston Road. That is the building that Phil Payne has there from University, not University of Vermont Wholesale Lumber. So his lumber yard is around that, and you see the Muddy Brook. You see kind of where we'd be working right on that flank on the right flank there, and then you'll see that there's no ECI there, and a lot of things are not there. And then I have for comparison the Google image down below, and actually I go all the way to Shunpike here. You can see that building in right now in the middle of the screen is where Ryder Truck is. But now you can see, by contrast, all the lumber yard where the Vermont Wholesale is, and then ECI's facilities, and just lots of development since then. And to the back there's still the Ryder Truck rental area. But pretty cool. It's how things have changed and how it's all documented by the air photos and stuff. So that's what I got. Thank you, Mark. Have a safe day out there, everybody. I'll turn it back over to Austin and Matt.
Yeah, thanks, Ken. If you're watching a group setting, please send me a quick text or email so I can capture attendance. Let's be safe today, and don't forget to look at the Doppler today, because those thunder showers potentially in this afternoon. Just be
So we'll
safe
try
today.
to send out an alert if some alerts come out from National Weather Service, right?
Yeah, I'll try my best to push out notifications.
Good. If we catch them, we'll send them out. All right. Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Be safe.